Ever wondered how to make the perfect cornmeal cake? It's a delicious, sweet delight that's simple to prepare. This delightful cake is a perfect blend of sweet and savory with a texture that's just right. It's a culinary adventure that's worth the journey, and today we're going to walk you through it step by step. We'll be using a handful of ingredients: a cup and a half of mimoso cornmeal, 1 cup of wheat flour, 2 cups of sugar, 4 eggs, a cup of oil, a cup of milk, a tablespoon of baking powder, a tablespoon of fennel seeds, a pinch of salt, and of course butter and wheat flour for greasing and sprinkling. These simple ingredients combine to create a cake that's truly more than the sum of its parts. So grab your apron and let's get baking. Ready to unravel the secret of the perfect cornmeal cake? Stay tuned. First things first, gather all your ingredients. Let's start with 1.5 cups of mimoso cornmeal. This will give our cake that unique texture and rich earthy flavor. Next we need 1 cup of wheat flour, adding body and structure to our cake. Now onto the sweetness. 2 cups of sugar. Remember, this isn't just for taste. Sugar also contributes to the cake's moistness. Our binding agents will be 4 eggs, helping everything stick together beautifully. We also need 1 cup of oil, ensuring our cake comes out moist and tender. Let's not forget the 1 cup of milk, which lends a creamy richness and helps balance out the sweetness. 1 tablespoon of baking powder will give our cake its rise, while a tablespoon of fennel seeds will add an unexpected hint of licorice-like flavor. A pinch of salt will enhance all these flavors, and finally, butter and wheat flour for greasing and sprinkling will ensure our cake doesn't stick. Quality ingredients are key here for the best result. Now that our ingredients are lined up, we can start the real fun: baking. The first step in baking the perfect cornmeal cake is preparing the cake batter. Now, creating the perfect cake batter isn't just about throwing all the ingredients together in a bowl and hoping for the best. It's a delicate dance of measurements, timing, and technique. Let's begin with our dry ingredients. We've got 1.5 cups of mimoso cornmeal, 1 cup of wheat flour, 2 cups of sugar, a tablespoon of baking powder, a pinch of salt, and for a unique twist, a tablespoon of fennel seeds. The order in which these ingredients are mixed is important. Start by whisking together the cornmeal, wheat flour, baking powder, and salt. This ensures that these foundational elements are evenly distributed throughout the batter. Next, we're going to introduce the sugar and fennel seeds. The sugar will add a touch of sweetness to balance the hearty cornmeal, and the fennel seeds will lend an aromatic note that elevates the cake to the next level. Mix these in until well combined. Now it's time for the wet ingredients. We've got 4 eggs, 1 cup of oil, and 1 cup of milk. We add these into the dry mixture in a steady stream while continuously stirring. This method helps to prevent any lumps from forming and ensures a smooth and velvety batter. The consistency of the batter is key. We're not looking for a batter that's too thick or too thin. It should be just right, somewhat similar to a pancake batter. If you lift your whisk from the bowl, the batter should fall in a steady, thick stream. Remember, the secret to a great cake lies in the batter. If you get this right, you're well on your way to a mouth-watering, crumbly and moist cornmeal cake that will have everyone asking for seconds. With the batter ready, we're halfway to tasting our delicious cornmeal cake. So keep your oven mitts close by as we're about to delve into the baking process, but that's a treat for our next scene. Now it's time to bring the heat and bake our cake. To start, we'll need to prepare our baking pan. We're going to use a round 9-inch cake pan for this recipe. Grab your butter and a bit of wheat flour. We're going to use these to grease and dust the pan. Spread a generous layer of butter all around the interior of the pan, covering every inch to ensure that our cake doesn't stick. Then sprinkle in some wheat flour and roll the pan around, letting the flour stick to the butter. Tap out the excess flour and voila, your pan is ready to receive our delicious batter. Next, let's get that oven preheated. We want a nice steady heat to bake our cake evenly, so let's set the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure your oven racks are positioned in the middle. This is where the heat is most consistent. Now carefully pour your batter into the prepared cake pan. Use a spatula to scrape down the sides of your bowl and get every last bit of that batter into the pan. Spread it evenly with the spatula so the cake bakes uniformly. Once the oven is preheated, slide the pan onto the middle rack. We're going to bake this beauty for about 45 minutes. Remember, every oven is a bit different, so keep an eye on it. But how do you know when the cake is done? That's where the toothpick test comes in. Around the 40-minute mark, open the oven door and carefully insert a toothpick into the center of the cake. If it comes out clean or with a few crumbs clinging to it, your cake is ready. If it's still wet with batter, give it a few more minutes and test again. After your cake passes the toothpick test, remove it from the oven and let it cool in the pan for a few minutes. This will make it easier to remove later. And there you have it. The cake is baking and we're just moments away from a sweet delight. As the sweet aroma fills your kitchen, you know you've created something special. The journey of baking this unique cornmeal cake began with gathering all the needed ingredients. With the mimoso cornmeal as the star of the show, we then combined it with wheat flour, sugar, eggs, oil, milk, baking powder, fennel seeds, and a pinch of salt. The process of preparing the batter was next, where we mixed all these ingredients into a smooth consistency. Remember, the key to a perfect batter is mixing it just right, not too much, not too little. Once the batter was ready, we poured it into a buttered and floured cake pan and baked it to golden perfection. Keep in mind that every oven is different, so keep a close eye on your cake to avoid overbaking. Congratulations, you've now mastered the art of baking the perfect cornmeal cake. Enjoy this sweet delight and share it with your loved ones.